Are you seeing what? Dude, my hand, it's burning. Dude.
Welcome back to Gambedo Gaming. I am he. Sorry for the slow upload schedule as of recent. It's kind of because of all these cool games that have been coming out recently. Oh, look at that. Look at him. He's gonna kick that guy in the face. Because that's Street Fighter right there. Ah, the peaceful calm. I could take a nap. I could play this game when I'm dead. That's how peaceful this game is. Tears of the Kingdom. I'm crying because I'll never be able to beat this game. Then we got Diablo 4 just came out, rocking my world currently. I guess what I'm saying is sometimes I forget I can't just play video games. Sometimes I gotta talk about them as well. So excuse my absence, I am back. And today we're doing another Iceberg video. Today we are taking a deeper dive into the original Mario Party, the one that kicked it off by Hudson Soft, Mario Party 1 on the Nintendo 64. This isn't an official Iceberg like I usually pull from my Iceberg videos. I actually made this one myself in script form. I kind of sourced from typical sources you see on Icebergs like cuttingfloor.com, random theory sites, forums, stuff like that to compile a pretty healthy list for the original Mario Party. Basically why I did this instead of just using somebody else's is there isn't a great one for specific singular games. A lot of times it'll be Mario Party as a franchise instead of Mario Party 1, 2, 3 each having their own dedicated Iceberg. And I really love the first 3 Mario Parties, and I think diving into them deeper would be a lot of fun. So that's my plan. We're starting with Mario Party 1 today. We'll see where it goes. I hope this format isn't too different because I am kind of compiling my own sources, but that means we won't have any weird entries where I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about because I pulled the entries. Let's hop into this game that came out before they knew what graphics were, because holy shit. Mario Party 1 definitely isn't my favorite of the Nintendo 64 Mario Parties, but I do have some respect for it still to this day, and that's mainly due to its difficulty and cutthroat nature that in my opinion, kind of got watered down in subsequent entries. It does offer a lot behind the scenes, and in terms of cut content, there's a lot to dive into here. For example, like the stuff discovered by players using things in the game like the debug menu, which actually brings us to our first entry. The debug menu in Mario Party 1 holds a lot of oddities, mainly being renders and images that aren't seen in the final game. But there is also a game mode that was uncovered using the debug menu known as random play that appears to have been fully functioning but was cut for unknown reasons. This puts players in a random playlist of minigames in which they only play the minigames, no board or otherwise. There's a unique results screen that would appear in between minigames to show the results, and it uses unique player models for their pictures that are only found in the debug menu. To me, this seems like an early attempt at making a minigame only mode, and they ended up just scrapping this build and went on to make the hellish minigame island or something and left this in the debug. Mario Party 1 contains code that suggests it would have supported the Nintendo 64 disk drive. If you don't know, the N64 disk drive was a failed console launch that was a beefier Nintendo 64 that read discs instead of cartridges. The system and the few games it had were released in very limited quantity, but it seemed like Nintendo was planning to roll out support for the disk drive throughout most of their first-party Nintendo 64 library. It's interesting to think about what possibly could have been added by switching to a disc format for Mario Party 1. Maybe on the disc version, you know, that minigame known as Tug O' War wouldn't suck so much. But hey, I think that's just wishful thinking. Mario Party 1 is a son of a bitch. Mario Party 2 is definitely my favorite, at least from this era, but Mario Party 1, I mean, it's a challenging ass game. If you're playing with friends, the game is only as hard as your friends are. And that sounds a little wrong. The real difficulty comes into play when you take a visit to Koopa's Minigame Island. If you don't know the hell that is Minigame Island, it features some of the game's hardest minigames, and you are alone in completing them. That's right, no help from a friend on this. Well, at least a human player. This mode is fully single player with the help from an NPC friend you choose at the beginning to help you get through most team minigames. The atmosphere and peaceful nature this mode tries to present is quickly destroyed when you realize how bullshit some of the minigames are. Some of the minigames include coin minigames, where Koopa will actually give you a goal to reach, usually being a coin limit to beat the minigame. This can be troubling on some minigames that are difficult, like Castaways, for example. There are a total of 9 worlds in Minigame Island, each featuring a handful of minigames, and it doesn't sound like it would be that hard. Like, what should have been a simple single-player mode got turned into one of the most daunting challenges on the N64. It was so bad it even landed a few people in the ER. Maybe not that bad, but at least with a bad case of third-degree burns. And you thought the tug-of-war game from Squid Games was bad. You haven't seen anything yet. A common issue that gamers had when playing the N64 Mario parties was the reliance on rotating the control stick with your palm. Well, the game presents minigames in which you have to rotate your control stick, and the natural inclination for most people is to just use your palm. You know, monkey flat hand, make control stick go fast. However, by going faster with this movement, you're essentially burning a hole in your hand slowly, a la Jesus Christ. I was luckily never struck with the hand blisters from playing the game to that extent, but it also meant I was never beating the grueling minigame known as Tug of War. This is where one player is dressed as Bowser and faces off with 3 other players in a classic game of Tug of War. This one may look familiar if you played it in the latest Mario Party on Switch because they brought it back for that game, but they changed it drastically. That one's so much easier. Back on Mario Party 1, specifically in the Minigame Island section, Tug of War would have you dialing 911 for an ambulance faster than Nan, who took a tumble last night down the stairs. You don't have to play a lot of Mario Party to realize that Bowser is still the enemy in this game. He is still the motherfucker he's always been, and I feel like he's the most ruthless he's ever been in these old school Mario Party games. If you're unlucky enough to land on a Bowser space and endure the collective oof from everyone else you're playing with, then it's off to visit your main man. He will give you a random slot machine of different things to fuck your money over with. Stuff like specific Bowser minigames like Bash and Cash, where everyone gets a chance to beat the shit and money out of you. Or maybe the much more to the point coins for Bowser space, in which he just robs you at gunpoint. However, the option that stands out for most players is the 100-star present option. Hey, just me after hours editing here. Just wanted a quick correction. So the 100-star present is only featured in the 2nd and 3rd Mario Party games. I had a little bit of a case of the Mandalorian effect, where I forgot which game this came from. This one does, however, have the 1,000 coin present, which acts exactly the same as the 100-star present, where if Bowser gives it to you, he doesn't give it to you. So yeah, just a quick correction. This game had the 1,000 coin present, not the 100-star present. It's represented with gold text like coin minigames, so it sounds like it's real, and it's very enticing. If you are lucky enough to land on this gift from God, Bowser will just tell you to go fuck off. Hey, at least you don't end up getting your coins or stars stolen, right? But the hype of actually thinking you're getting 100 stars, basically solidifying your win, but then he just rips you off. Yeah, it fits for Bowser for sure, but he's still such a shit sucker, man. Especially in these old games. I don't know if it's his fucking jank character model or what, but I fucking hate this little weasel. Like any good Mario Party, there are a few minigames that just didn't make the cut at the end of the day. Listen, if games like Castaways or Tug of War can make it through, I don't even want to know the reasons these minigames were cut. Let's still take a closer look at some of them. All or Nothing is a minigame that tasks players with hitting random blocks in order to get Mario results on the block instead of a Bowser result. This was clearly an early version of the final chance time in the game, and this could be proof that devs weren't considering making chance time its own separate thing, but rather a minigame. However, due to the RNG nature of the game, they just cut it and used the assets to make the chance time we know nowadays. And while I'm glad we got chance time, because man, what a game changer that can be sometimes.
Oh my God, please. No.
This minigame seemed right up this game's alley as far as bullshit minigames go. Why are you cutting this one out? Because it has too random of RNG, yet this one can still exist. Tour de Mario seemed like it was going to be a biking type Mario Party minigame. However, unlike other cut minigames, we don't have an image from the instruction screen for this minigame, as there is only a black screen with text that says now printing. There's also a large Japanese text that says under construction over the minigame explanation, and it seems like the minigame didn't get very far in development. There was a rumor that you had to spam press A in the minigame to make Mario take his steroids faster throughout the race in order to win. Took a page right out of Armstrong's book, if you ask me. Bungee Jump almost has even less information than Tour de Mario does, but there is still a description text which describes the minigame as a game in which players would have to time a button press at the climax of the bungee jump and if they did, they would receive a treasure. It's unknown to why this game was cut, but it was likely due to the bad ending you get, in which Luigi forgets to check his bungee cord before jumping and slams on the bottom of the cliff, dying instantly. Same game is a fully playable minigame in Mario Party that was cut out of the final game. You can still play the minigame via Game Shark codes, and it seems like the minigame was fully finished but cut for unknown reasons. The minigame featured a puzzle in which players would have to ground pound large color pieces to break them down to get to the hidden treasure. However, if players weren't able to complete this task, they would just end up exiting through a door with a single coin in it. Not a great prize, but I guess it's still better than leaving empty-handed, which is honestly better than what half of the minigames end up giving you if you lose anyway. Yoshi's Tongue meeting sounds like an intense meeting at Nintendo HQ in which Miyamoto and Iwata were furiously debating if Yoshi's tongue was 5 feet long or if it was 5'1". Alas, this was going to be a minigame in Mario Party 1, and it seemed like it was fully fleshed out. The minigame itself is playable via Game Shark codes and showcases a 4-player minigame in which players must reunite a small baby Wiggler with its parents. The catch is this is another timing minigame in which players will have to stop the Yoshi's Tongue right at the right time, otherwise you would lose. You could either stop it too short or too late, and depending on who is the closest to being perfect, that player wins. It's a simple idea and reminds me of the same mechanic that was going to be used for the aforementioned bungee jump minigame. And I have a small theory that maybe Nintendo would just wanted to scrap all the minigames that had this type of gameplay for some reason. Shocking that a single press minigame made it through, but shit like this still exists in the series. Cool. No Game is a strange game mode found in the game files and is playable using Game Shark codes. It doesn't differ much from the main game, but it seems like this was going to be used for a mode in which no minigames were going to be played. I'm not sure if this was meant to be used for a single turn and skip the minigame for that turn, or if this was a full version of the game in which they took the minigames out. Either one is pretty interesting to me, especially thinking about a game that was fully without minigames. Perhaps this would have been easier for a more casual audience to enter the game. However, due to it being cut, we don't really have a solid answer as to what this no game mode was. It's also worth noting that at the end of characters' turns, their character card turns yellow, which isn't a normal colored featured in the final game. It's also worth noting that upon finishing the game in no game mode, the game will simply show a game over layover and continue on with the usual end game. For whatever reason, they removed this no game mode, and it's interesting to think at one point there may have been a Mario Party game with no minigames. It sounds boring as shit to me, but maybe the minigames were too much for people back in the day. Box art is so important to nail for video games, especially back in the day. If you didn't have some catchy, clickbaity game cover, your game was getting overshadowed by Gex or some shit. However, foresight wasn't really a thing in the 90s, and it showed in the case of box art, especially for Mario Party 1. The box art shows the cast of the game and Mario front and center hitting a dice block. However, the dice block is placed in an unfortunate position right next to the title of the game. Therefore, based on the box art, this game actually looks like it was the third Mario Party in the series and not the first. This got even more slappy when they actually released Mario Party 3, and this one was still out there playing pretend. Like, dude, I like Mario Party 1 and all for nostalgia's sake, but it is not Mario Party 3. It might as well be Mario Party 7 if you turn that dice block a little bit, you know? This is also only present in the US and PAL versions of the game, as the Japanese one looks like this. In my opinion, this was a pretty big L Nintendo took back in the day, and personally I would have been pissed as fuck waiting for Mario Party 3 for my birthday or some shit, and Nan comes over with the first Mario Party. Thanks, Nan. Now I have holes in my hand, like the guy who's all over your house. There's not one corner that guy's not in. There is some unused text present in the game that may showcase an early version of the main objective in the game, which is gaining stars. As we know, players keep gaining stars until the game's turn counter ends, which is chosen beforehand, and the game tallies the results at the end. But thanks to a cut piece of text, it may suggest that the game had a star limit at one point. Let me show you where the last star is, big boy. You're looking for. This is the last star, so good luck, everybody. That was Toad saying that, so that was my best Keegan-Michael Key impression. This is a pretty interesting piece of text, as it would present a new challenge during the game, knowing that there is only a limited number of stars to gain during a set game. The good luck text also makes it seem more anxiety-inducing to get your ass in gear and reach that last star before the game ends. However, due to something like added difficulty probably, they removed it and we have the infinite star limit we know today. Although, I wouldn't be mad if they brought this mode back as a bonus mode in a new Mario Party one day. Seems like it could change the meta of the game for the better in some cases. Nintendo might have one of the funniest voice clips I've ever heard with the Japanese release of Mario Party 1. If a character is getting fucked up by Bowser going through general pain, they will exclaim, "Oh my god!"
Oh my god!
It seems to be only Wario and Luigi who say it, but both are quite enjoyable to hear. I really get my giddies off with this. It definitely seems to be a bit heavy-handed for a kid's game back in the day, but honestly, to be able to hear that as a kid, man, that would have cracked me the fuck up. Nintendo decided to take it out of the international release of the game, and instead of saying, "Oh my god," characters now say, "Do I missed." Or at least that's what I thought for 26 years of my fucking life, and up until writing these very words. Turns out Nintendo was hella lazy and just changed it for the German release of the game, and said fuck it. And the characters are just walking around saying a German phrase known as "so in mist."
So I missed!
This German phrase sounds a whole lot like "do I missed." And I think Dr. RL123 summed it up perfectly with this comment. My whole life has been a lie. Although, if we looked at the Beak Monk, what he has to say, because, you know, we all know we get our wisdom nowadays from the Beaked Monk. He actually said he brings up a decent point, you know. This is the same version of Mario speaking Italian. But what does that confirm? Is Wario German? You know, I was thinking Wario did always look kind of familiar. Huh. It's pretty much impossible to reach the star limit in a single game of Mario Party. There aren't enough turns to go around, and no matter how many random blocks pop up out of the ground, you're still not reaching the 99 star max. However, if you cheat and do end up with 99 stars, there are some interesting oddities that occur in the game. If you visit Toad when having the max amount of stars, a unique dialogue box will appear where he congratulates you on the stars and says to come back if you lose any. Because, you know, Toad knows what's up. You're probably going to lose some. The option to steal will also be grayed out when visiting a boo, but interestingly, when a computer player has 99 stars and has enough coins to steal a star, a soft lock will occur because the computer player is always programmed to steal a star if they can, so the game can't be continued from that point forward. Dude, I always knew it. These CPUs were stubborn motherfuckers. But this is a whole new level. This is ridiculous. Nintendo sometimes plays it fast and loose with the family-friendly thing, and it's over the weirdest shit. It really is. Take, for example, this large Marlboro parody ad located in Mario Kart 64. Like, this just straight up confirmed that smoking is a thing in the Mario universe, and Mario has his own brand. I knew this guy was fucked up. The ad was actually so funny to the game developers that it was going to be used in an early version of the slot car derby minigame in Mario Party 1. You could just see them over there chuckling it up at Hudson Soft. This can be seen in a pre-release screenshot and is pretty much the front and center of the only thing in the fucking minigame. Hell yeah, Nintendo. Let's promote tobacco. But Grand Theft Auto? Nah, fuck that. That won't be caught dead on our fucking consoles. Won't be caught dead with that trash in our systems. Nope. We're too pristine. Also, check out the new Luigi carton deal at your local Toad houses. You get 15 packs of cigarettes. You like Black Milds? Good, we got them in the bag. Koopa and Milds? Game reviews nowadays are not to be trusted half the time, and you can never make a decent judgment anymore on a game with them. However, back in the early days of the internet, this was a great way to have your game promoted and covered. Therefore, when a game got poor reviews, it was likely going to come across the attention of the developers. And that is exactly what happened in the early 2000s when Game Informer gave the first 2 Mario Party games very low scores. Nintendo saw this and said, nah, fuck those guys, like that Rick scene in Walking Dead. Let's get them back.
I like this guy. Now fuck this guy.
They quickly typed up a certificate and all signed it from Nintendo and sent it to the Game Informer, thanking them for their kind words on the Mario Party games. Damn, that's petty as hell. Y'all really didn't have anything better to do than harass a few people who, yeah, were wrong about the games mostly. But the games also aren't perfect, let's be honest. I don't know, to go this far sounds like something a small indie dev would do just to protect their own ego. But a company like Nintendo taking this personal attack is wild. I can't imagine how they felt during the Wii U era. Tensions must have been so high. No wonder Reggie fucking died. Well, there you have it. That was my rendition of an Iceberg for the original Mario Party. An original, if you will, for me. I'm looking to do future Mario Parties in this format, so if you enjoyed, let me know down below. I will also be tackling specific games with this format that don't have a dedicated Iceberg online. or a good one for that matter. So always look forward to those and stay subscribed to the channel. I will be doing more content in the future. Sorry if this one seemed a little bit shorter. I'm unsure of how long it's going to be. But yeah, this was the bulk of the stuff I could pull from Mario Party 1 that wasn't getting into very specific things that seemed a little bit more boring. So yeah, source some feedback of this new type of structure of the Iceberg videos. But anyway, it's the end of the video. Go fuck yourself. Bye.